All right, let's jump right in. Think about those massive, high-stakes financial promises, the kind where billions of dollars are on the line. Now, what happens when the very paper that promise is written on can be faked? It's a huge problem. And today, we're going to look at a brand new framework that uses blockchain to build what's essentially a digital fortress around these promises, trying to make them absolutely unbreakable. So what does happen when a multi-million-dollar promise is built on trust alone? I mean, really think about that. When a giant deal comes down to a piece of paper or just a digital message that somebody could fake? Well, the answer is usually disaster. We're talking about the very heart of the global trade system, and it's riddled with fraud, risk, and just jaw-dropping potential losses. So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at finance's riskiest promise. Then, we'll explore the 7-layer digital fortress built to defend it. After that, we'll unpack the 3 key innovations that make it tick, see how it all looks from a user's side, and finally, we'll ask the big question: is this the future of trust? All right, Section 1, finance's riskiest promise. We're talking about the problem with the old guard. See, before we can really get our heads around the solution, we've got to understand just how shaky the old system actually is. So, the key player in this whole drama is something called a standby letter of credit, or SBLC for short. The easiest way to think about it? It's a financial safety net. You know, if a company promises to ship you 1 million widgets and they just don't, the SBLC is the bank's guarantee that you're still going to get paid. It's supposed to be the bedrock of trust for these huge international deals. But, and this is a big but, that bedrock has some serious cracks in it. And we're not talking about petty theft here. According to the Financial Action Task Force, the exposure to this kind of crime, we're talking billions of dollars every single year. This isn't just a few bad apples, it's a massive systemic problem. So how are they doing it? Well, the system's broken in so many ways. The vulnerabilities are frankly everywhere. It could be something as simple as forging a bank's letterhead, or it could be way more complex, like double pledging, where you promise the same asset as collateral to 2 different people. Heck, fraudsters are literally inventing fake banks out of thin air or stealing encryption keys to change messages mid-flight. It's clear the old system is just full of holes. And that's what brings us to Section 2, a 7-layer digital fortress. This is the proposed solution. I mean, think about it. How do you defend against so many different kinds of attacks? You don't just build one tall wall, right? No, you build a fortress with layers, multiple independent layers of security. And this right here, this is the blueprint. Each and every layer is designed to shut down one of those vulnerabilities we just talked about. So layer 1, identity, that stops anyone from pretending to be someone they're not. Layer 3, the ledger, that's the blockchain, making it impossible to double pledge assets. Layer 4, clearing, smart contracts make sure payments happen automatically, no settlement failures. They've even figured out how to secure the old Swift messaging system by tying it directly to the blockchain. It's a classic defense in depth strategy where every single known weak point gets systematically sealed off. Okay, so let's move on to Section 3. What are the tools they're using to build this fortress? Well, the framework is really built on 3 key innovations. First up is something called the Aeon Protocol. And honestly, this is brilliant. It tackles the stolen key problem head-on. See, instead of using a key that's made in advance, one that could be stolen, Aeon creates a brand new one-time use key for every single transaction. And get this, it's generated from pure randomness in the physical world, like electronic static. It's used once to sign the deal, and then, poof. And here you can see the direct payoff. Forgery? It becomes mathematically impossible because of that unique signature. Stolen keys? That whole problem just vanishes because the keys are never stored. And what about double pledging? Well, the blockchain acts as this single source of truth that just instantly spots and rejects any funny business. Okay, so the message is secure. Great. But how does the actual money move? That's where the second key innovation comes in. Meatcoin. Now, I need to be super clear here. This is not like Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies you hear about. It's what's called a stable digital bond coupon. It's always worth exactly $1 because it's backed by a massive $4.5 trillion pool of real assets. Think of it as the system's own reliable, non-volatile digital cash. And the third and final tool, this one is fascinating. It unlocks value from something called off-ledger funds, or OLF. The best way to picture these is like vast hidden financial treasures. We're talking sovereign wealth funds, giant private trusts, money that isn't just sitting in a regular bank account. This system has found a way to verify these assets on the blockchain, which means they can finally be used as collateral. We're talking about potentially unlocking trillions of dollars of value that's just been sitting on the sidelines. So we've got all this incredibly powerful, kind of complex technology. But what does it actually look like for the person using it? That takes us to Section 4, making it go from complex to clickable. The answer is something called the GBS terminal. And really, you can just think of it as the mission control dashboard for this whole operation. It's one single hub where everybody involved, the applicant, the issuer, the beneficiary, can see and manage the entire lifecycle of the SBLC. Everything in one place. And the actual process for a user is surprisingly simple. Step 1. You get on board, your identity is verified, and your assets are registered as collateral on the blockchain. Step 2. The SBLC is created, signed with one of those one-time use Aeon keys, and sent out. Step 3. Everyone can monitor it in real time, and if a claim needs to be made, settlement is instant with Toin. And then there's Step 4, which is a real game changer. The SBLC itself can be registered as a security, like a stock or a bond, and actually traded on secondary markets. Okay, so this all brings us to our final section, the big question. We've seen the problem, we've seen this incredibly deep solution, so what's the ultimate payoff here? Are we actually looking at a whole new future for trust in finance? When you put them side by side, the difference is just staggering. Look at this. Issuance time, it drops from weeks down to hours. Settlement time, it goes from several days to instant. But the biggest change, the most important one, is the very basis of trust. It shifts away from just relying on a bank's reputation, which we know can be faked, to relying on cold, hard cryptographic proof. And that, the framework argues, simply can't be. And this really gets to the heart of it. The source material itself puts it perfectly in its executive summary, and I'm quoting here. A blockchain SBLC carries cryptographic proof of authenticity, making it the most verifiable and liquid form of SBLC instrument in the market today. That's it. That's the whole ballgame, the ultimate promise. And so that leaves us with one final, pretty mind-bending question to chew on. This entire system is designed to replace fragile human trust with absolute mathematical certainty. But here's the thing. Does creating this seemingly unbreakable digital fortress actually create true trust? Or does it just create a much more complex, much more difficult challenge for the next generation of fraudsters? It's definitely something to think about.